But my favorite gemstone, which is tourmalines. Tourmalines are a great gemstone because they come in like a wide range of varieties of colors. They're also known for their bicolored properties and even tricolored sometimes. So a very good way of identifying them is actually because of their multicolored appearance. Yeah, so we have many different colors. For example, they come in kind of like pinks, which are called rubelites. We have more greens that are called chromes. We have Paraiba, which are these kind of like very, very beautiful neon electric blue green stones. And in terms of like understanding the value of a tourmaline, it's a little bit different than other gemstones in the sense that like the color is actually going to be more important than the clarity. And so you could have a very beautiful color and the clarity isn't as perfect. Well, this aspect will actually be overlooked in favor of the color. So for example, if you have a Paraiba, which is a very rare color to have, even though it is highly included, it will still be of high value because of its scarcity. Versus if you have more of like a chrome color, which is more common, then obviously the clarity will be valued a little bit harsher. So tourmalines have a very wide range of colors. They also have a very wide range of price. So obviously the more common they are, like black tourmaline is very common. It's there's in abundance, and so it's relatively inexpensive. However, if you go all the way up the other spectrum, we'll find Paraiba, which is sometimes like even 10,000 carat. It's quite expensive because of its rarity. It's also very hard to find in larger sizes. Like finding a 1 carat Paraiba is not very common, and so the price range it'll skyrocket. Most tourmalines, you can find larger sizes. It's when you start to hit that 3 to 5 carat weight that the prices will really, really go up as well. So a very cool way of identifying tourmalines is actually its bicolored properties. And so generally, if you look down a tourmaline along the length of it, it will have a much darker and actually different shade of the same color than if you look at it vertically down the length. That's a really good indicator that one, it is a tourmaline. So like any gemstones, we do find treatments, and one of these treatments will be heat treatment, which is very standard procedure for most gemstones. It will just basically, they'll heat the gemstone in order to enhance the colors. Another way that you will find is irradiation. This is a less stable procedure where they will actually irradiate the stones. Of course, when this happens, it kind of changes the color and it removes some of that bicolored two-toned look of the stone. And when you're going to be buying tourmaline, there are a few ways of knowing whether it's authentic or not. For example, one, the bicolored effect. Rubelite tourmaline, more of the pink hues will actually turn more of a brown under natural lighting. Another way you can also see is to look for inclusions. Generally for natural gemstones, there will be small inclusions here and there. So that's an indicator that it's authentic. Another way is its origin report. So when you're buying a gemstone, check the origin. It generally always comes with it. So because tourmaline isn't necessarily always the most expensive, there aren't that many mimics of the stone. However, you still do see it, and you see it particularly for watermelon, so like the bicolor. This is a really fun stone. It's kind of like pink and green at the same time, and so sometimes what you can find on the market is they will cover clear glass with almost kind of like a thin sheet of colored plastic that is sealed onto the stone. And they're pretty easy to tell from because usually you'll find little residues of fluff or thing under the coating. You'll see bubbles from the plastic sticking to the glass. So tourmalines are also a really cool choice because they do have a hardness of 7 to 7.5. They're quite durable. They come in many different hues, saturations. So it's a really fun stone to play around with. So crystals tend to have a very particular crystal formation because they're very, it almost looks like long filaments all kind of glued together. And so a lot of the times the stones will be cut within the same directions of the filaments. Like a proper gem cutter will know how to cut this stone, and it tends to be within that direction. So a lot of the stones will be elongated, ovals, things like that. This is a very good example of tourmaline and how there's different zonings of color within the actual stone itself. This is because when the crystal is actually growing, it will absorb the properties within its environments. And so, for example, when you have more greens, it's because there's copper in the environment, which is changing the naturally like clear tourmaline to be this color. So tourmaline also grows in kind of like water environments, and so a lot of times they will grow actually within pockets of water. And so because of this, in the formation you can actually find little mini bubbles and water within the actual crystal itself. And so when you have it cut in like cabochons, and when it's in extreme cases with a lot of water, you'll actually see kind of like a cat's eye effect, because the light is picking up the reflection of the water, which is super cool. Like for example, these are called sunrise tourmalines, and they have a beautiful, I don't even know what to call it. It's kind of like a peachy pink. It's also a very cool alternative to morganite, because morganite, the stone, tends to collect a lot of grease. And so on your engagement ring, for example, you might have to clean it a little bit more often, versus tourmaline is not as bad. And so it will stay nice and clean a little bit longer. In terms of like the bicolor, so you can have it really like the watermelon. So a lot of designers will actually take this stone, and instead of cutting it on the long, they'll cut it horizontally to give this watermelon look, versus you can have the stones actually with the two tones going through. So there's different ways of cutting it. Generally, the stone setters will examine each piece by piece and cut it in favor of what they think will look best. They each have their own unique aesthetic, which is like really cool. We have like seafoam greens. That's actually what I'm wearing, a seafoam green. I just absolutely love it. We have blues. I think not many people show blues, but you have blue tourmalines, you have violet tourmalines, even yellow. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Out of all the tourmalines today, let us know which one you like in the comments. Yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.